Hello, welcome back. I'm Julie Samako, owner of Southern Charm Wreaths, where we teach you the art of wreath making and faux floristry. Today we're making a grapevine wreath. We're in the workshop. We did our masterclass, our year-round design masterclass, which was so fun. And then we've been designing in our Wreath of the Month Club group, which is open to new members. So I was thinking today we could make a summer design, and I want to use a smaller grapevine wreath because we just did this one in our Wreath of the Month Club group. Was it on Tuesday? Isn't that fun? So if you're like me and you like a lot of flowers, but you're trying to put it on a 14-inch wreath base because, hello, you know, sometimes our buyers are wanting they're being a little more thoughtful in the way they spend their money, and sometimes they don't want over the top. Sometimes they want a little smaller. And so we're doing a smaller wreath base here, and I wanted to show you that I went ahead and I added the foam. So let me walk you through that process. When you add your foam, you're just going to want to take a little piece of styrofoam. We're not using the desert foam. We're using, I just cut off a little chunk of styrofoam. The styrofoam is denser, okay? The desert foam is brittle, okay? You can use desert foam for soap flowers, but not if you're shipping and not if you're using it in this manner because it will be too brittle. It just will not support what we're doing here. It's a very sturdy piece of foam. Does that make sense? Now here is what it looks like the back. We took a zip tie and just attached it. So put a little glue on the back of your foam and a zip tie. Run the zip tie through some of the wreath pieces. What are this called? Grapevine wreath pieces. All right, and then you're going to zip tie that. And then I covered the foam with a little bit of green moss. But now I feel like we've got some area that's a little bit more, right? So we've got some, more space because this is thinner. It's a 14-inch grapevine wreath. The bigger the grapevine wreaths, the wider this gets. And since this is a smaller wreath, we just don't have a lot. So if you are also using some wreath that is just very narrow and it doesn't have a lot of branches, you can use your foam for that as well. So I thought I'd just show you how you could go ahead and just add a little piece of foam onto the back and use that for more area for adding your florals, okay? We're gonna put this up on our wreath. I like to get my wreaths vertical so I can see the design. When I show you how to make wreaths, I'm showing you after having done this for 16 years and collected all of the tools and supplies. You don't need all of it to be successful. So just know that, okay? I'm just showing you like what I have. Now let's go ahead and add our bow. I did do a multiple ribbon bow. I used a 2.5 inch. All right, and I used a 1 inch, okay? Letting you know that this is a little more on the pricey side. There's cheaper options, okay? So if you're trying to be thoughtful in your spending on your wreaths, you can use some less expensive ribbon. So this would be a really good substitute if I didn't want to spend the money or my customer didn't want to spend the money on quality fair silk ribbon. So 2.5 inch and 1 inch. I would pair a 2.5 inch and a 1.5 inch and make the same bow and it would be just as pretty. I did 5-inch loops all the way around, 3 of the 2.5 inch and then 3 of the 1 inch. Okay, so that's what I did to make my bow. New here, never made a wreath. So nervous. I know. It can be overwhelming. Like, where do you start, right? Where do you start? We do have a short little course. It's $9 and it covers like all of the basic information, like the terminology and the differences in the flowers, ribbon, and all of that, okay? So it's called Wreath Making 101 if you're interested, wreathmaking101.com. And it's just like a beginner getting started because I know it's overwhelming. Like, where do you get all the things? What do you need and what do you don't need? And how do you set up your space for success? All of that stuff is in that little mini course, okay? If you're interested in that. Who has been nervous when you made your first wreath? Like, you are not alone. I was the same way. I was nervous. I was scared I was going to make a mistake and mess something up. And I have learned over the years, there is nothing we can't fix with a little glue. Anything wreath related, girl, you'll just learn that there's nothing we can't fix. Okay, there's nothing that you can't cut too short and then wire on a piece of stem on the bottom of it to extend it. I'm trying to find my wreath. I'm going to put this through. You know, if you cut something too long, you just make it shorter. Okay, and then we're just going to move our little streamers around. The other thing too, if you forget to add a loop, you can add loops after the wreath is made. You can add streamers after the wreath is made. You learn all these little tricks. Just keep following along and you'll learn all of these. We also teach all of this in our Wreath of the Month Club group, which is currently open if you want to join us. I know a lot of people have been waiting to join us, and it's currently open to new members. We only open it twice a year. But it's like a school. It's like a wreath making school. And then we're also getting ready to switch everyone over to a new education of it, so that it's going to be a little more educational, which I'm excited for. You can see that with this ribbon, it's a little more. I'm just making sure it's not going to be too flouncy. It looks good. I like the education. I like teaching the why. Like, why are we putting something there? Why are we spacing it? And that type of thing. So that's what this is. The Wreath of the Month Club is more of like a school. All right, let me show you what we have on my table. It's also a family. I feel like our Wreath of the Month Club is just a good, fun place to be. If you need a community and support for not only education, but also to help you, like maybe you're wanting to sell, or maybe you have problems shipping, or maybe you don't know what flowers go with what, or maybe you have a customer who needs a specific color combination and you're having a problem just getting started with it, and that's what the group is for. So yeah, and we pray for each other. We're a faith-based company, so we're definitely there to support you spiritually as well. Here is our greenery. Okay, so here is what I like to use. This is my secret sauce for realistic looking wreaths. I absolutely love multiple greenery. That to me adds the texture. Could you imagine if your whole wreath was this, or your whole wreath? I see a lot of makers, they use the whole wreath as the ficus leaves. The ficus leaves are good, I feel, for a foundation or a creating your shape, right? It's got that flat leaf like this. It's very 2D. This was more of a 3D because it's got all the little ripples. But it's just a good foundation, I feel. But the other thing that it fails to do is it doesn't give you that texture, the mixture. So you see the different leaf shapes. Okay, we've got some that are like almond shape, and then you've got these that are a little more like little flowery, and then you have the magnolia, so it's a different like teardrop shape, and then you've got some fern pieces. The other thing to consider is your color, okay? So you've got some that's a darker green, and then you've got a lighter green, and you've kind of got something in between. So this to me gives you color depth. So it's important to remember some of these things when you're creating your wreaths, that you want a mixture of texture. Color theory is very important when it comes to creating anything with florals, silk flowers, literally anything, whatever you put on every day for work. You know what I mean? It's all about the color of how you're pairing color together, and that ties into also your wreath making. So when you put something like this, which is dark green, that brings your eye in. And then you put something like this is the lighter green or white, that brings your eye out. So you see this first and you see this last. That's what I mean. It's like giving you color depth. So you're mixing up your textures and you're mixing up your color. And that's what we're gonna be using for our greenery, just a mixture of it. All right, I'm trying to decide, I think I'm gonna go ahead and just divide this. I feel sometimes it's quick if we don't divide it. Like I might keep this all one piece, right? We could do that, but then when I divide it, I have a little more control of where I place things. So let me see if I want to divide this thing. I think I'm going to go ahead and divide it. Wow. Oh, there we go. There we go. Yeah, let's go ahead and cut this one too. All right, we have these wide leaves, and then we have our little pieces of the fern. Let's go ahead and divide all of it out. You can keep it together. I just like the control of it. We're going to start with this one. I'm not sure if we're going to add another one, but we're going to get started with this. I'm going to start with my larger leaves first. All right, sometimes we need additional length or we need additional width, right? Sometimes our wreath base is very thin and we put a stem in it and it doesn't have anything to connect to, right? Or sometimes we put glue on our stem and it shrinks. It gets really small, or the glue just melts it. So anytime that happens, you can put a wooden floral pick on the end of your stem, or you can put a steel pick. Steel pick is a little more advanced. Let me show you what that looks like. So sometimes you don't need it, but sometimes you do. Like this one we might need a little more length for this. Do you see that? Just a little short. So if you need a little more length, this puts a pick on the end. Now this is an investment in a business, in my opinion, or a dedicated crafter. All right, but it's not needed. You can use wooden floral picks. I have also been known to use leftover, stems out of the trash can, so you can just pull stuff out of the trash can and use it. But that's what I mean. So that's what we're going to start with. Is we're going to look at this greenery, and then I'm going to here's another stem. See, this is what I normally would throw in the trash can, but I can also use these as well. This is called pistachia. I love the flouncy. See how realistic that looks? That's so fun to me. And I'm going to go ahead and keep these a little on the longer side for now. We're just going to divide. Now, I'm just trying to decide how long I want these. I do know somewhat in my head of what I want my wreath to look like. I'm going with a recipe, which we give in our Wreath of the Month Club group, okay? And it's called a crescent shape. So I am going to start with that shape and work from there, okay? I'm going to take my leaves. I'm going to take this one, I think. It's got a little more leafage on it. And we're going to start closer to our bow. All right, we're going to start there. I went in the foam with that. And I'll try to let you know if I go into the foam or if I go into the wreath, okay? So you'll know when we start mixing the two. So here I'm going into the foam. Here I'm going to redo this. I told you there's nothing we can't redo. Just going to cut it a little shorter and bring it closer to my bow. I work from the bow out. Your bow is your central, focal. And so you start there and you work your way out. All right, so we've got that one. Now I'm just going to go out from there. Now I'm going into the wreath. All right, so now we've got something established. We're starting to create our foundation. Right now I've got these. I'm going to keep working around the bow. That went through the foam. We're going to start to extend our greenery. We want to extend, if you want to extend the wreath shape with your florals, your florals sort of need a bed of greenery to sit on. So I'm extending that. Okay, so I'm going to come over here. I think I like that. I want to also be careful that my arrangement doesn't feel like it's falling off. To do that, I need to start moving a little bit more in this direction. So we've got, do you see now you've got a foundation established? You've got your shape established. And you could do that with greenery. It helps, doesn't it? All right, so we're going to pull over these snowball hydrangeas. I think they're really called verbena. So the one thing to consider when you are wreath making and you are new, that there are so many different price points for florals, okay? Anything like this that looks realistic, where it actually looks like a cut off of a shrub, because I have a snowball hydrangea and it looks like that when you cut it off the shrub. Same thing here. See, it looks like it's been cut off the shrub. Anytime you have something like that, it's going to be a little more pricier. You have a thicker stem in here, and then this is a lot thicker. This is a very good stem if you're trying to put something in a container, let's say on an island or something. I think this is a good quality product to use. But not to say that these things don't also pop off. Just because you spend a little more money, they still pop off, just like they do with the less expensive. The other thing, if you need to, you can take a steamer and get some wrinkles out of your leaves. But I'm going to go ahead and cut these off. You might want to leave one long, you know, for options. We just cut these off short from the stem. I did keep one long just in case I needed a long piece. They also have greenery on them, so that's going to help with the greenery on our wreath. Now we're going to go in, like I did before, close to our bow. Start with the bow, which is the focal, and we want to work our way out. Now what I'm going to do is what I should have looked at is the size. I want to go in with my larger head first, okay? My larger flower heads go closer to your center. Go closer to the base. So we got that. You just don't want to put it too close to the bow loops where your bow loops cover it. I'm going to put this one, so we have one here, we're going to mirror and put it on the opposite side. Just letting you know, how am I attaching these? I am dipping these in glue. So this is a pot that I've melted my glue sticks in. You can also use a glue gun if you want to use a glue gun. But I kind of like using this for mine because I do a little more. I have a dedicated craft space. I'm not putting my supplies up frequently. Now, if I had to do that, I probably wouldn't be using a glue gun. It would be a little easier. Let me see if I can't find the foam. Okay, there. Well, if it's not in the right place, just reposition. All right, so we've got that's mirrored. We're talking spacing now, okay? This is why it's important. You want your florals to have space, but your florals are what define the way your eye moves through your wreath, okay? So decide, where do you want your eye to go? We want our eye to move this direction, right, around. So we're going to put one down here, but I'm going to also go to the very opposite of that and put one on this side. Yeah, that looks cute. And I saw that this went through the grapevine. Okay, we don't want that. We want it to go through the grain of the grapevine, not pierce through the grapevine. You can tell that it also pierced through because now this isn't angling up, it's angling out towards you. Okay, so we need to redo that. We're just going to pull it out and reinsert. Now here I'm trying to decide where to go. Okay, I feel like I can go here and that would look super cute. And then we could put our last piece up there, which is too short. We'll have to make long because I wasn't thinking when I cut it. I think I'm going to come up here. I'm holding the wreath with my thumb. so that I know where to insert. Okay. Do you see how we have our space? They're not right on top of each other. Every bloom is like got its own moment, right? All right, so now we want to come up here for this one, mirror this one, and we need a length. I'm going to grab a wooden floral pick, and we're going to take the floral pick, and we're just going to line it up on the bottom of that stem, and take the wire on the floral pick and wrap it around. This is going to secure, see how we've got 4 inches of length now on that? I'm just going to secure that around. And now I'm going to take some tape. This is floral tape. When you pull it, it becomes sticky. And we're going to secure this on top of our wire. Now this is called the mechanics, okay? We don't want our customers to see the mechanics, and so we're trying to camouflage it so that it blends in, all right? Just like that. So now we've got some length on our stem. In our Wreath of the Month Club group, we have a whole section dedicated to mechanics. We call it Mechanics Mondays. We've got Technique Tuesdays, Mechanics Mondays, so that you can learn techniques, quick down and dirty techniques, not a whole wreath. All right, sometimes we do the whole wreath thing 5 times a week with 5 different coaches, but sometimes we're just wanting quick down and dirty, how to make a bow, how to attach a sign, how to space your flowers, things like that. That's what we're talking about. That's what we have for Technique Tuesday or Mechanics Monday. Now we're going to fill in. All right, so fill in with smaller flowers. Look at that. That is so fun. It adds a lot of texture. But then I also have this ranunculus. Feel the ranunculus kind of detracts maybe from the snowballs. Do you see? I mean, it's not bad. It would still work. But I think this is going to go in a different direction. So I'm going to go ahead and use the Queen Anne's. I like the garden look. That's my style. That's the other thing too, which is really good, is when you start making and putting together your own designs and learning all of the different designs that are out there, you start to create your own style. The more you do it, the more you start to develop something that you just like, and it just comes and flows easily to you. Everybody can have, we can have so many different wreath makers, but you'll see everyone's is a little different. That's the way it's supposed to be. It's not supposed to be, we copy everybody. That's not how God made us. God made us to create, right? We're supposed to be expanding and creating, right? Just like you don't see the same deer in the wild. It's all going to be slightly different. Everybody's is slightly different, and that's okay. So develop your style. That's what's going to make you stand out from everyone else. Look at that texture right there, and doesn't that look pretty? It looks very natural, like a something you picked out of the garden. What we're doing here is we are going in between what we already have established, okay? So when you get this far, you're like, ooh, it's easy. Because all I'm going to do is fill in, all right? So we're going to come over here, go up this way. All right, you see how we still have our spacing? And don't think that everything needs to be facing front and center. You want things faced all around. You're going to have people seeing this wreath from different angles. All right, so we're going to come over on this side and do one right here in between. If that's not going to stay, we might have to put a pick on there. Okay, so we did opposite. All right, now we're going to go into the other direction this way. It's all about the movement of your eye. All right, and then I'm going to go opposite, and we're going to put something in the center over here. Now, it doesn't have to be right across. You don't want to put it on the same plane. You want to drop it up or down. So I think I'm going to put mine over here on this side. You go with the grain of the grapevine, and then you bend, because we are silk flowers. So you could be done here and just fill in. But I'm going to show you how to take it up a little bit more. We're going to add another filler flower, and it's going to add some more texture. This is called ragweed. We're going to trim all these off. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're just going to, again, start to fill in, starting with closer to the bow. Let's go over here. And maybe over here. I feel like something needs to be up here, though. You can't go wrong, but I do like the contrast of this one. So we're going to use this. I think it's called a mini cup leaf. These are pushers, so I can push these up and down. Karen's like, if you're on the fence at the Wreath of the Month Club, just do it. I love that. Thank you so much. All right, now we're going to just pay attention to where we have everything. And I typically like to start around the bow. So I think I'm going to go somewhere this way. All right, let's see. We're going to come up this way now. And then we're going to go to the other side. All right. And then let's get this one. Let's go ahead and put this one, I think, right there. How sweet is this wreath? We got a summer design. We got a spring design. We've got, it lasts for fall if you ask me. Now from here, I have, remember when we first started our magnolia, had these little fern pieces. I'm going to go back in and add those. Wherever I see some greenery that just needs to be broken up, or maybe we need it to be a little bit more finished on the end. We're going to keep on keeping on with our little pieces of fern. We're going to, you see how much more texture this has now that you've added these greenery pieces? All right, so there's that, okay. I love this, y'all. This is so pretty. Can you see what I mean with the color depth? Your eye goes from the light to the dark green, okay? Now, let's pull more ribbon. We're going to add a little more ribbon. This is what I like to do to finish off my wreaths. It's just a little bit more ribbon. I think maybe down here we can add it. You could put a wooden floral pick on. We showed you how to do that in this video, another mechanic. You could put a stem from the trash can, another mechanic we showed you today, or you can use a steel pick. It's up to you. You've got options. All right, we're going to come under here. And I want to make sure that I'm getting that towards the center of my bow when I insert it. That way I know it has the right angle. And it looks like it's part of the bow and not something I added. And then let's do one of the others. I think I'm going to put this one over here. We've got that one there. Oh my goodness, so cute. Now here you have an opportunity to either put a regular rustic wire hanger, or you can use more ribbon at the top. Again, it's all about how much money you want to spend, how much money do you want to put in this wreath, because this is expensive ribbon, right? And no matter what ribbon you put in, it's going to be an additional cost, okay? But it will elevate your wreath, and it will put that color up here. and it would look super, super cute. But if you don't want to do it that way, we just use rustic wire. This is 18 gauge wire. The lower the gauge, the thicker the wire. All right, just going to cut off a piece of our rustic wire. Okay, it comes in a pack like this. Get it at Hobby Lobby, Amazon. And what we'll do is we'll come through and clean up the back. You could see that we had a few glue places on leaves. When those dry, you just pull those off. You're going to go ahead and cut this bow wire short. Put your wire in to the wreath. Cut anything that's sticking out, like stems, short. And then what you're going to do is get some hot glue and a leftover leaf. Okay, so you're going to hot glue a leaf on top of this. This is another Technique Tuesday tip. You're going to want to cover up this because your customer doesn't want to see all this. She's going to put this maybe on a glass door or something. She don't want to see no hot glue and wire and stuff. So you're going to put your leaves and hot glue them right there on top of that, okay? This is where I had it on when it was pierced through that little knob, okay? But if you could see that this, I want my gravity to bring this straight down. So I'm going to rotate that more like that way. That's a little too much. More like right there, all right? But it's already wanting to lean that way. So what I have to do is I have to off balance the weight of this by moving the hanger closer to the design. So I have it on my hand where that was, and I'm just going to move it a little closer to that design, to the center of that design. Okay, and you're just going to take the wire and you fold it in half, and you take the loop part and you put it through the wreath and you pull it back up. And you're going to wrap these little legs around it. If you cut it longer, you can wrap the whole thing, but mine's too short, so I'm just going to cut it around, do it around the little legs. Cut excess off. All right, and now we have a wreath that is ready for our Etsy shop. We can be shipping it. And then let me get some glue on my leaves and I'll show you what I mean. With the back, you guys come join us in our Wreath Making of the Month Club group. We do wreaths just like this. We have 5 coaches doing a variety of things: wreaths, swags, Christmas trees, arrangements, lantern toppers, garlands, all the things. And we focus on the mechanics of it, the education of it. You see how I'm putting my glue here? I could have also used these little pieces because they were part of the project, right? So you could use that as well. I cannot wait to spend more time with you, working with you. I am live on Tuesdays, but I'm also randomly go live when I want to show you my recent haul of supplies and stuff. But we have coaches on every day. All right, do you see how I just did that? All I'm doing is covering up all that glue. And now we are completely finished. I can go take my photos. Pretty, pretty, pretty. We would love to work with you and get to know you in our community. All right, thank you so much for joining me. Have a blessed day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.